This is Vikuk. He grew up among these concrete blocks, and when he was a child, there wasn't a lot of greenery among the buildings where he lived. The whole place was grey with hardly any trees in sight. It's much better now. In fact, the city of Prague has one of the largest green areas in the world. In Vikuk's view, necessity and hope are the driving forces of change, but it's hard to believe that things outside of us can change on a fundamental level when we haven't experienced change within ourselves first. With this in mind, Vikuk decided to use a camera to record and analyze what he sees during the day. He believed that if he spends the evening rewatching and analyzing the videos and photographs, reflecting on what he saw that particular day, it will help him develop his sensitivity and grow as a person. At the beginning of 2023, Vikuk went for a walk in a forest close to his home. Later in the evening, he went through the images he saw and noticed the face and the structures of the roots, soil and moss. That was me. Vikuk tried to go to sleep early that night. When he finally fell asleep, strange things started to happen. Vikuk, I'm Solverkis. You probably don't remember, but we met when you were a small child. I survive on human warmth, so whenever a child doesn't pay attention to where it's stepping and trips over, I hear the sound of its head hitting the ground. I quickly move through the earth to suck the warmth out of its body. I get my share of energy, and the kid learns a lesson and makes sure not to fall again. It might seem brutal, but I'm the reason you walk without falling. And there's something that's bugging me. I've seen a lot of strange people in the forest lately. I noticed that it's because of an imbalance in sensitivity. Some of them are so sensitive that they hide away from the world, shutting down their nervous system and letting themselves slowly fade away. The others have an opposite problem. Their lack of sensitivity allows them to cause damage to their bodies without their awareness. When they finally wake up to it, it's often too late to do something about it. If you don't understand yourselves, how could you create a healthy environment to live in? Some of you are so out of touch, including you, Vikuk, that you don't even notice when it's not good for you. How can you then possibly build a healthy environment to live and flourish in when you turned away from nature and turned away from yourselves? I can see it in the way you build your cities. You should have listened to Jill Scott Heron when he warned you about the whitey on the moon. But I like that thing with the camera you're doing. Let me use some of your footage to help you see the parallel between your body and the cities you live in. And I'll tell you a secret about the camera when this dream is over. To some, the current pace of the world might feel like sitting in a helicopter with the sound of the rotors rumbling through your bones while the Earth's stability is out of sight. When people are worried about their future and livelihoods, they struggle to overcome greed and obsession with short-term profits, the two major obstacles to creating a green economy. If you want to make your city sustainable, it doesn't help coming at it from a place of fear. You need the clarity of an unclouded judgment and a plan. The structure that upholds the city is made of metal. It's especially associated with particular areas of the city where precision and order are required. It's cold in nature and it's the backbone of all urban construction. The construction industry is responsible for over 40% of the world's emissions and creates more than a third of the world's waste. This is partly because metal is incredibly energetically demanding to extract from the earth, but its durability, combined with an optimized design, responsible and efficient extraction, and making use of its malleability so that it can be recycled and repurposed, are huge parts of the solution to urban sustainability. Notice which parts of the city are metallic. cooling tendency of metal comes forth in these areas as they require a composed attitude, punctuality, and a cool head. And yet, when there is too much of it, it can feel too rigid, like a person that's too strict, conscientious, and suspicious to the expression of emotions, and in the worst case, cynical. In a way, buildings made of metal can contribute to a sense of coherence and intelligibility. Without them, the city might feel as if you ate too many different things, and all your body's focus is on digestion, making you less perceptive and dull. Look at the texture of metal. Its smooth surfaces don't allow for stagnation. In the city and the body, when the metal element is balanced, it comes with strength and flexibility. It makes it easy to breathe and move. Movement brings blood to the extremities. This warms up the hands and legs, making you relax. As the world's temperatures rise, its particles behave like the molecules in a pot of boiling water. Things used to be cool, but now everything is so fire. The music is fire, the fashion is fire, the cars are fire, while the whole world is on fire. The heat's rising in the air, as well as your bodies. People don't know how to chill. They didn't listen to Bruce Lee's advice. It should be the simplest thing, given that 70% of your bodies is made of water. The global prediction is that temperatures will rise by 2 to 4 degrees by the end of the century. In some places, like Prague, this is expected to be twice as high. Although Prague is so green and became drier in the past decades, the parks can still hold a lot of water. In the city, green water management imitates the natural water processes, and the soil and plants can turn wastewater into a resource. If you let the waters run off, even Prague will struggle with aridity. The water is an element associated with the unconscious mind, so it's necessary to pay attention to what's beneath the surface. If you don't pay attention to it, you will interrupt its cycle. Didn't you yourself grow into life in the water of your mother's womb? And won't your body's waters feed the soil again when you die? The rain fairy was moved by the wind, just like the clouds are moved through the sky. Air might be hard to notice because you can't see it, but it exerts pressure and can even hold its own against water. Your little human bodies would be crushed by the weight of air if you weren't full of air yourselves. The air element is the life force, so how can you have the technology of your bodies fully functional when your urban design barely takes it into consideration? The lungs are the body's instrument for breathing, and at the same time affect the functionality and energy of the whole body. The instruments of breath in a city are its parks and trees, and the streets are blood vessels spreading oxygen through the city. Through them, like the red blood cells, humans run around and disperse energy from one part of the city to another. The ones who don't get enough oxygen drag themselves through the city inefficiently, and it costs them an incredible effort. You do have the knowledge to clean the city air. You even developed air cleaning technologies. It costs only $600 to remove a ton of CO2 from the atmosphere. But it's always better to treat the causes rather than the symptoms. You know that compact cities reduce dependence on cars and encourage people to walk and use public transport. Dispersed cities don't concentrate the pollution into one place, and the cars don't get stuck in traffic, which makes them use their fuel more efficiently. Who's developing the urban models that help structure your cities? Is it the architects or the developers? And you know who's great at cleaning the air? Trees. If you don't get enough oxygen and breathe properly, you might fall into apathy. And apathy is a step away from giving up on yourself and the environment, which means falling right into the trap of hopelessness.
Nechci nic víc než ležet, striptýz s tím dechem, nádechem přeskočit běh, v něm mám mezery. Jdu sem se světem, hraju si s větrem, odfoukne mě pryč jako list, až kam nevidíš. Ležím jak beton, dýchám jak nebe, brečím jak kostel, ve kterém ale není kříž. Píchá mě srdce, dávno nejsem rebel, myslím na tebe, ale na sebe musím myslet víc. Nádech je naděje a výdech znamená mír. A výdech znamená mír. Nádech je naděje a výdech znamená mír. A výdech znamená mír, nádech je naděje, ale naděj znamená cíl a cíl znamená jít. A jít znamená život a život znamená žít. Řekli mi žij jak chceš, tak dík. Řekli mi žij jak chceš, tak dík. Nastav dlaň a můžeš vzít, schovej ruku, nesmíš krást. Nesmíš mít strach a pořád se musíš smát. Co když se nechci smát, já nemám strach se bát. Jdu sem se, bojím se, nádech už jsem sám. A když jsem s tebou, raději nedýchám. Zavřu oči, počítám. Raz, dva, raz, dva. Nádech je naděje a výdech znamená mír. A výdech znamená mír.
That you can experience your feelings, move your body, and think. Electricity in the natural world can produce fire, but you use the fire to burn the fossil fuels to produce electricity. You burn them to feed the cars, to orchestrate international wars, to run your electricity and gas-fueled houses, to move all kinds of things around the world, and build and take apart whole cities. Your cities eat more than 80% of the world's total energy and produce over 60% of the greenhouse gases. Why? Because your infrastructure still bears the wrinkles of an industrial revolution. Where are the photovoltaic panels, the heat pumps and recuperators, the energy grids and the automation systems that adapt to your circadian rhythms? But be careful not to turn your care for the environment into an ideology. You don't need new electric cars if your old car is still running fine. A craze of electric car buyers is worse for the environment than if people just use the cars they already have for a few more years. Why is this not a part of your curriculums, teaching people how to consume less, to produce and buy things that can be easily repaired and create a world that's less energetically demanding? Or even teaching people how to conserve their energy? You just keep pushing like the world's on fire, making it a self-fulfilling prophecy. It's beautiful that there are now buildings that use energy more efficiently, but why not build them when the old ones are falling apart, instead of taking the city down and expending so much energy on new constructions? Where does the hunger for progress come from? The emphasis on competition, the marketing department's appetite for human insecurity, and the culture's driving of people's minds into a place of insufficiency, so they compulsively fill the void by empty purchases. You have severed the ties with your past and are blindly rushing into destruction, unconsciously afraid that if you slow down, the lack of clarity of your minds will reveal itself. The word robot came from the Czech word robota, which referred to the work of peasants who served their masters and worked on the fields for up to 16 hours a day. This type of work was abolished in the country in 1848 as a reaction to the attempts of Czech people to free themselves from the Austrian Empire's control. The peasants wrestled life out of earth in an effort of fulfilling the master's expectations and harvesting a bit for themselves and their families. To survive the incredible hardship, they had to maintain hope for the future. And unlike today, when many people hope for a future where they don't have to work, the peasants believe that they can propel their families forward towards freedom if they maintain the links to their past and use the survival strategies of their forefathers. They knew that before Robota, they were free people, and that maintaining their traditions helped them stay rooted in the face of adversity and the harshness of nature. It allowed them to improvise, a skill you ought to start cultivating too if you wish to deal with the climate crisis. The way it looks to me now, you're treating the soil like an infinite resource, ignorant to the fact that technology can't help you squeeze the nutrients out of it forever. In the future, I expect many people to need assistance to function. If you neglect the body, the central nervous system degenerates too. That's part of the reason why peasants were able to deal with such hardship, because their whole bodies were involved in the process and could absorb the shock of difficult emotions. It's inevitable that you use machinery for subsistence, but are you not able to learn anything from those who came before you and learn how to farm sustainably? The Aboriginal Australians mimicked the natural processes so well that the Brits thought their land wasn't even cultivated. 200 years of massive technological progress, and you still haven't figured out how not to exhaust the soil? I know you have, but unless you want to fall into desperation, this knowledge needs application. Look into agroecology and see if you can describe how it can be applied. That's going to be your homework. Why not combine the older techniques of restorative agriculture with digitized and automated technologies to help survey crops, assess yields, or monitor pest control? The earth is an element that nurtures and harmonizes all the other elements. It's at the core of your being. The soil provides the nutrients for food to grow, and your bodies process these nutrients to grow new cells and regenerate themselves. Still not sure what I'm trying to say? The city is an organism just like your body, and your body came from food that came from the soil. Without understanding the body, the efforts to create a sustainable world might be misguided and motivated by fear. If you do understand the body, you will understand nature much better, and this will give you the resources and strength to deal with climate change much more effectively. So Vikuk, if you want to resist the apathy that sometimes overcomes you, find a way to cultivate strength and flexibility. It's everyone's responsibility to find their way to do that, but for you, Vikuk, I want to encourage you to do this with the help of the camera. If you walk daily, you turn into a wanderer. It gets your blood flowing and will help you bring your head a little closer to the ground, which will make you stronger. And the continuous search for what brings joy to your heart will purify your senses, making you more adaptable to the changes in your environment. In your photographs, you will spot the fundamental elements. Their properties are already within you, so stay focused and keep bringing them to consciousness. It's the way to developing your sensitivity, but there is no need to rush this, unless you want to end up in waters that might be too deep. First comes the understanding of physical light, before the inner landscape opens up to you. In the Czech language, you have a saying, nebuď zvědavej, budeš brzo starej. Don't be too curious, or you'll age too quickly. It's through the observation of nature that you will finally start making healthier decisions. It will become the foundation that you can grow and build upon.